So we're getting a lot of sound bites from different interviews on topics, specifically from Microsoft, as they're making the rounds currently with all these different publications. And they're asking some pretty good questions right now, especially about the future of Microsoft with software and hardware, because remember, Microsoft did unveil a new system during their showcase. It wasn't necessarily what people were expecting when I say Microsoft's going to show us a brand new Xbox console. You're probably thinking maybe an Xbox Series Pro, an Xbox Series XL. No, it's an Xbox Series S with twice the storage of the current one, and it's carbon black. No, the people were expecting something that maybe would be a bit better in terms of frame rate and resolution. However, Microsoft says that that's not really the case and actually responded to the idea of this. So if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to like button and subscribe if you're new here to the Spawn Wave Plus channel. This was posted up over on Bloomberg as they were talking with Phil Spencer about an upgrade for the Xbox game console, not on the storage side, on the overall power of the 12 teraflop system. But Phil Spencer says he doesn't feel an imperative to come out with a major upgrade of the Xbox game console. That's not the feedback we're getting right now. Right now, we're pretty set on the hardware we have. So this actually seemed to surprise some people, and the reason for this is we did hear through rumors and reports that Sony is working on a PlayStation 5 Pro console, and I'm hesitant on that still, considering it's lining up for a holiday 2024 release, so a year and a half from now. The thing that definitely has people pausing and looking at that again, myself included, is the fact that we had a reveal for Sony's Q handheld that is indeed a streaming device described exactly, or it appears exactly how it was described by Tom Henderson over on Inside Gaming. And the other thing we'll have to look for is if that slim PS5 or that detachable drive PS5 is a thing for this holiday. If it is, everything's lining up for Sony to launch a PS5 Pro, which would be an awkward position for Microsoft to be sitting in if that does indeed happen, because, well, that means that Sony would have the more powerful option on the market, and Microsoft has at least attempted to keep that position this entire time. I mean, ever since the Xbox One launched more expensive but less powerful, it appears Microsoft has made a genuine push to correct that. The Xbox One X, in terms of on paper teraflop number, being more powerful in the PS4 Pro, and in a lot of benchmarks and comparisons, it showed, right? But the Series X has been a bit different, whereas the PS5 has actually come out on top of a lot of comparisons with frame rate or resolution, and I think that does have to do more so with there just being more PS5s out there. So developers are using that as like the default system to develop for, and then they take a look at the Xbox Series X that's also accompanied by the Xbox Series S. So there's a bit more split in terms of development there for that platform. But it did make me think a bit about how they would be presented. And I did pose this question on Twitter, and how would you work to sell an Xbox Series Pro or an Xbox Series XL, even a PS5 Pro? I guess right now the PS5 sells like very much so on name brand recognition. Just PlayStation in general is a very strong brand, and it's continuing to sell. The Xbox has had issues with, according to Phil Spencer's overall supply, and they have significantly increased that. So I'll be curious to see if sales spike upwards for them. It seems like it would at this point with Starfield, right, coming up, Forza, and a pretty good showcase, I would say, that really outlines the next 12 to 18 months for the Xbox brand. But what would you do to sell this next system, this mid-gen refresh, if you will, if it truly is more powerful? Would you say it's 4K, it's 60 frames per second? Because they used all that marketing with the base models here that we have now, right? Like they even said 120 frames per second. You could say 8K, but the PS5 box has 8K on it. HDR is there, ray tracing. I guess you could say it's just a better version of those systems. You could also up the storage capacity, which I think the PS5 would probably be able to do a bit easier and just say, hey, it's 2 terabytes now. That means it's more than double the space of what was in that PS5 system at 825 gigabytes. And you don't even get all of that, obviously. Microsoft did this with the Series S, the newer one, the $349 model Carbon Black system. And that's more tangible, and the mainstream audience, they can understand that better. It's like, oh, yeah, my Xbox Series S consistently was running out of space. This one's double the amount. You know what? I'll believe it or not, upgrade to that one, or I'll buy that one instead of the Series S now that I'm seeing their lineup, right? I want the one that has more storage because look at all of these games. Sure, that is an easier thing to explain. It's more tangible. Whereas saying, hey, we told you it was 4K at 120 frames before, now it's really 4K at 120 frames, or the ray tracing is better, which ray tracing is already kind of hard to sell people on as it is, because it's that situation of they're the same picture to a lot of people, even though it does look legitimately better in practice when you're playing it. So that's kind of what I'm left with. Is I feel like right now they just need to work on taking advantage of the current hardware, and I'd say work on improving the upscaling technology that they have available to them, because I still think that's going to be the path forward for a lot of these companies, is working on different ways to upscale the picture rather than try to brute force it with hardware, because the price, I guess, would continue to go up. A $600 PlayStation 5 Pro? I mean, I guess they can do it. And from what we've seen in the GPU market, people still buy very expensive products for gaming. So it really, if you look at that versus the PC market, $600 is still a pretty good deal, as weird as that sounds. So it's hard for me to believe necessarily that we are going to move to a mid-gen refresh console, because with the Xbox One and the PS4, there was a reason to do it, with 4K grabbing the mainstream faster than Microsoft and Sony were expecting. And Sony obviously selling TVs heavily, right? They want a gaming entertainment system platform to put next to it with their PS4 Pro. So yeah, let's make a 4K system. We're not going to wait until 2020 to do it. So they did in 2016. But what need would they be filling next year, or even the following year if they wait that long? I don't really think there's much. I feel like a slim PS5, maybe even a smaller Xbox Series X, sure, that would make sense. But a more powerful one that does 4K better, that seems like a tough thing to market. And I'm glad I'm not responsible for that one. But let me know what you guys think about this down below. I will admit, if they did come out with a more powerful Xbox Series system or a PS5 Pro, I'd be interested in picking it up, because I want the best possible experience. But at this point where I just don't even feel like we've taken full advantage of the current systems, just don't really think it's as necessary now as it was back in 2016 or 2017 to make that jump to 4K. Thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.